How long does it take for the Kauai branch to respond to a complaint? Am I done? 2 minutes. So a complaint comes in from the west side. They're saying, I had just sprayed today. My eyes are red. I feel like throwing up. How long does it take for they call it Kauai branch 245-2333 or whatever that number is, and they say, I want this situation investigated?
I can't tell you for sure. I'd have to look at the data, and we'd have to determine it probably differs from complaint to complaint, depending on the nature of the complaint. So I don't know if there's a single time that I could say it's like takes an hour or a day or a week. I frankly don't know. It depends on the issue. I can tell you that Department of Health, my environmental management program does keep track of complaints. I can tell you we get thousands of them every year, and we respond with thousands of investigations. Dozens of those investigations turn into enforcement actions where we actually put a case together, and I can show you the number of dollars that we actually collect in those enforcement actions. But I would suggest to you it's quite clear that if we receive 1,000 complaints, there's no way that we can respond in person to each of those.
Last question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Gill, for being here. And let me say that that study was not simply funded by the state, the county of Kauai, but in fact initiated that, because the answer I got from the state was, sorry, we can't help you because we don't have the money. So let's at least set that. And let me apologize up front if I offend you in any way as I go through these questions, because you know, we had the State Department of Ag up here a few meetings ago, and I don't know if they went back and told you that they got verbally assaulted by myself, but it's because I'm very concerned that we are here today because the state has failed. That's just the reality of it. I mean, no disrespect, but that's why we're here today, because the state has failed. Walk me through the process of the Department of Health when a complaint is filed. This is the same question I asked the Department of Agriculture. Someone calls up, like Mr. Kagawa says, and said and asked, hey, you know, I got some issues. I think I got some pesticide issues. I live next to the field, and my eyes are burning. My kids are vomiting. What happens in that case?
Well, I think first of all, whoever has called in that complaint will be referred to the appropriate person in the Department of Health.
Which would be?
It depends on the nature of the complaint.
I just told you what the nature of the complaint was.
If in fact somebody is having acute medical response to something in the environment, then it's probably the first responders are going to show up. So that's going to be referred to the police or the fire department or the ambulance.
Correct.
Department of Health would respond depending on the nature of that complaint. If it's an odor complaint from arguably possibly from a pesticide, we'd likely one of our staff is likely to get on scene and respond and collect data. Often in the instance that you've issued or suggested here, by the time somebody shows up, even if it's 30 minutes later, that odor or that irritant may no longer be there, and there is no simple kit that sniffs the air that tells us what that is. So we'd have to do an investigation to determine what that source may be.
Okay. And what is the investigation process that would ensue?
First, we'd have to determine whether there's something to investigate that affects state law, but then our employees would be on scene, and you know, for example, if there is a chemical spill, which we can identify is a source of the irritant or the hazard, what may happen in that case is we'd have to bring in our contractors or our emergency responders, you know, to control the site, to evacuate the population.
And that's an extreme, but let's say it's not. Let's say it's spraying in the fields near this house or school, and I mean, I went through the exercise with the Waimea Canyon one. I wasn't satisfied at all, but I'm trying to figure out where does the Department of Health come into play? I mean, you said your staff members would be here, but do we even have any here that would investigate?
Depending on the nature of the complaint.
The
We do
one I
have
just talked
staff
about.
that's here.
Right.
So-
Are they at a capacity that they can go out and investigate and I'm talking about a misuse of pesticides, because that's what the allegations
Okay.
are. Allegations are that these companies are spraying way more than they should be.
Sure.
They're allowing drift when it shouldn't be, and that's what I'm saying. Where does the Department of Health fit in?
Okay, that's good. Thank you for that question. So it's something I might have said at the beginning, but now I have a chance to respond. So when it comes to pesticide, the Department of Health has two primary functions of where we regulate pesticide. As you know, I'm sure you've been through this, the application of pesticide is governed by the Department of Agriculture, not by the Department of Health.
Okay.
So we regulate pesticide and contaminations in drinking water.
Okay.
You've got years and years, decades of data about the quality of your drinking water, and each of you who is drinking water from a regulated drinking water source gets a report every year about what was found in your drinking water. Furthermore, when we find anything that triggers an investigation under law, we have to put out a press release. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of transparency and clarity about what people drink. Okay?
I want to just ask this last question. The 10 minutes goes by really quick, my friends. But, you know, Chapter 149A, which governs the pesticide use, and it's really a Department of Ag function, but in one section, which is the cancellation or suspension of pesticide uses, it is clear that the Department of Agriculture, with the approval of the Director of Health, can basically cancel or suspend any pesticide permit. And it's clear when residues of the pesticides are detected in drinking water. Has the Department of Ag ever approached the Department of Health to consult with the possibility of suspending or canceling a pesticide use permit?
Not in my experience. I'd have to check to find out for sure.
But how long have you been there?
Well, I've been doing this job since the beginning of the Abercrombie administration, and I did this job for 4 years in the second half of the Cayetano administration.
So about 7 years?
Altogether.
Okay. Well, that's all my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I always want to say Congresswoman.
Hello.
I wanted to ask if you were aware of Dr. Carl Berg's sampling of groundwater around the island and using a sample kit detected atrazine in some of the stream waters on Kauai?
I'm certainly aware of Dr. Carl Berg. He does some contract work for the Department of Health and has been very active with the Surfrider Foundation here on Kauai. And I see him and consult with him often. I am not sure of the sampling that he may have done.
He was here about a month ago, and said that he had done some sampling using some test equipment, and was able to detect levels above EPA levels. What would be your response to something like that? Have you received that data from him?
No, not that I'm aware of. So we have contracted with Dr. Berg to take some samples, but not for atrazine samples. Okay. So I'm not aware of what that data is. I'd be really cautious commenting because this is like a third-hand information.